Eric here again. Now, you might have noticed that South Korea has been in the news quite a lot lately. You might have noticed them during the Olympics or during the recent Korean Formula One race. And you can't have missed the Korean music star Psy with his song Gangnam Style. Yeah, that one, yeah? I mean, Korea has a massive shipbuilding sector as well as car manufacturing and electronics. But did you also know that Samsung, the electronics giant, is Korean? I mean, South Korea is known as one of the Asian tigers alongside Hong Kong, Singapore and Taiwan. Now, one of the most interesting statistics is that as a nation, they have one of the highest average IQs in the world. Now, this may go a long way to explain their growth and success, but I don't think that's the whole story. Now, they say the best place to keep a secret is in full view. And that might be exactly what the South Koreans have been doing. In fact, not only is it in full view, but they flaunt it at every opportunity. Have you ever taken a good look at the South Korean flag? I mean, you've probably seen it before, but have you ever really looked at it? Now, if you do some research on the flag, you'll discover that the white of the flag represents the nation as a whole and its quest for purity and peace. The Tai Chi symbol in the middle represents the people, and the 4 trigrams represent the government of the people. Now, the image in the center is the symbol for yin and yang. If you've watched my video about being an introvert or extrovert, you'll have seen the same symbol used there. See, it actually represents continuous change. I mean, all change involves some form of transition over time. Now, some people love change and some people hate it. But we're all subjected to it all the time. The truth is, if you want to grow and develop, then that involves change. You know, the truth is, in order to have progression, there must also be regression. In order to become a butterfly, the insect must give up being a caterpillar and undergo a period of transformation locked up in a cocoon. Now, the caterpillar may not like it, but the butterfly does. So in order to create a dynamic team out of an average team, something has to change. Now, the reason we resist change is because we think that we will be non-productive while the change happens. You know, a bit like the poor old caterpillar locked up in the cocoon. But change is actually happening around you all the time. I mean, even if you think every day at work is the same, you'll have to come to the realization that they're not. Even in the film Groundhog Day, where Bill Murray's character seemingly had to repeat the same day over and over, every day was actually different because he had different interactions with the other characters, and he could also remember the other days. You know, it's said that in order for the tide to come in, it must first go out. But the tide that comes in is not the same tide that came in previously. See, the Korean flag and what it represents is held very dear to the people, and its symbolism guides many aspects of their lives. This concept of continuous change is captured right there in the center of the flag. But there's more. Take a closer look at the 4 symbols surrounding the Tai Chi. Now, if you've visited my website, Dynamic Business Teams, or read my book, Your Inner Dynamic, then you may recognize them as 4 of the 8 trigrams from the I Ching. That's the ancient book of changes. There is some speculation that older versions of the flag had all 8 trigrams shown in it. The trigrams, remember, are said to represent government, or in other words, how we govern ourselves and others. Now, this philosophy of self-government is at the core of the I Ching. So I think it's a fair assumption that the Korean government and the people put a lot of faith in the teachings within the I Ching. So could it be that this ancient text is guiding them to prosperity in the 21st century? You see, these 4 trigrams represent the original 4 elements from which everything else is said to be created: air, earth, water and fire. In Korean thinking, these trigrams also correspond to the virtues of humanity, knowledge, righteousness and courtesy. The 8 trigrams form complementary pairs. One trigram is associated with a yang orientation and the other yin. Each pair is also associated with one of the 4 core functions that I discussed in the building blocks of personality video. Just as your unique personality is created from different combinations of the 4 functions, your attitude towards life can be shown to be a combination of what is represented by the 8 trigrams. You see, the trigrams are combined one above the other to create the 64 hexagrams or attitudes found in the I Ching. It's said that these hexagrams hold the secrets required to advance in any situation in life. Now, 8 of the 64 have the same trigram above and below. I've highlighted them for you here. These are the core attitudes that differentiate you from others. I represent these by showing the trigram in a circle, half light for yang and half dark for yin. I'll explain more about that in another video. When you create your dynamic team, it's important that you include people that can cover each permutation from the I Ching. By that, I mean you should have people in your overall team that have strengths in each of the 8 core profiles. By combining them in your team, you ensure that you will be able to cover all the situations that will come up as you develop your business, organization, or even a country. You know, the 8 core profiles from the I Ching correspond to the 8 profiles in wealth dynamics. So by profiling your team, you can identify any gaps as well as the strengths that you have within your team. Now, obviously, there's a lot more to team dynamics than just the profiles, but it's a great place to start if you want to build a productive and dynamic team. Knowing who you have in your team will allow you to match them to the roles required to make your team productive and get your organization into flow. You may not need every profile in your team though. That will depend on the team's objective. So a great question to ask any team is, how do you define success? That may be your first step on a pathway to high productivity, a positive culture, and future prosperity. And I would like to be your guide on that pathway. So to find out more about the different profiles, have a look on my website, Dynamic Business Teams. It goes into much more detail about the different profiles and the building blocks of personality. It will also give you more information about the concept of duality and how the I Ching can guide you to success. If you want to appreciate your strengths and how to relate to your team members in a constructive manner, whether in sports, business, or just in the game of life, it might be worth finding out more. So please get in touch and I'll do what I can to help you. Maybe I can even inject a little magic into your business. So until next time, this is Eric Sutherland signing off. Bye for now.